Yes.
Hari Om, everyone present today. Welcome to yet another exciting and insightful session by Chinmaya Yuva Kendra, Mumbai. Let us begin with the invocation prayers. ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् श्रीराम राम रामेति रमे रामे मनोरमे सहस्रनाम तत्तुल्यं राम नाम वरानने रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेदसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीताय पतये नमः अतुलितबलधामं हेमशैलावदेहं दनुजनवकृशानं ज्ञानियामग्रगण्यं सकलगुणविदानं वानराणामधीशं रघुपतिप्रियभक्तं वातजातं नमामि रघुपतिप्रियभक्तं वातजातं नमामि. Today, the struggle of 500 years has finally bore fruit. Centuries ago, attempts were made to destroy this Punya Bhumi's culture. They may have destroyed our idols, but they can never shatter our ideals. These ideals are those which helped us to stay rooted firmly and led us to our victory today. In tribute to today's victory, we have Dr. Arvind Raghavan, who will be conducting the session today with the topic Emotional Resilience through the Ramayana. About the speaker, Dr. Arvind Raghavan Srinivasan is a PhD from IIT Bombay and working as a senior scientist at Corning Research Center, India. He also volunteers at Chinmaya Yuva Kendra to share our cultural heritage and scriptural knowledge with the youth. He has conducted more than 500 self-development workshops for a wide-ranging audience, from children to corporate. He facilitates weekly sessions for the youth on the Bhagavad Gita and other scriptures to empower themselves from its learnings. He has also acted in several plays and even co-scripted 2 plays, just like that, based on the Bhagavad Gita, and Dharma Yodha Vidyaranya, based on the life of Swami Vidyaranya ji. Handing it over to Arvind Bhaiya.
Thank you so much, Dharini, for that nice introduction. Some very nice, awful words that you started off with. So again, let me quickly confirm if all of you are able to hear me well, because firecrackers are going on just outside. But I hope that sound is not interfering and you can hear me clearly. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me clearly. All right. Great. I think firecrackers होनी भी चाहिए आज दिवाली है, so that's second Diwali today. Great. So let me just share my screen and then we will start today's session. Okay, again, let me know if all of you can see my screen.
Yes, Bhaiya.
All right. So today's session is called Emotional Resilience through Ramayana. Okay. It's a very interesting topic, and it's a workshop that we had conducted a few years earlier in some colleges in Mumbai. And then I thought this would be a great occasion to kind of conduct it again for all of you. Of course, first time you're doing it online. That was more like an offline session. But let's try to see this. It's going to be an interactive workshop, and the idea is to have all of you involved as much as you can. So feel free to please chime in, whether through I can unmute and speak, can chime in through the chat box. I'll try to keep as much attention on the chat box as I can. And overall, let's make it more participative. Then only it will be more fun, and it's a great day. So You need to have full on energy today. All right. So with that, let's get on to the topic. So I'm going to start with this interesting question. Okay? What would you do? I'm going to give you a scenario. Okay. And I want you to tell me what you would do. Because there will be a series of statements. And you need to share what would you do if you were in this situation. You're a fighter pilot. Not no dreams, right? You're the fighter pilot at the prime of your youth and the peak of your career. Okay. You're like the best among the best. But you get into a freak accident. Okay? It's not like you're fighting the war and you got accident. No. It's a very freak accident that happens. Or not on the battlefield at all. You wake up in a hospital only to realize that you've become a quadriplegic, completely paralyzed below the neck. Okay, you can't feel anything below the neck. Fighter pilots. So, question is, what would you think about the situation? A fighter pilot getting into a freak accident, and he's paralyzed neck. He or she is paralyzed neck. Chant Ram Ram using your mouth. Good, you can do that, I'm sure. But what will that Ram Ram give you, or what will you do with that Ram Ram after chanting that Ram Ram?
Bhaiya, I didn't understand that regarding what do we have to do.
Yeah, as in if you were to get into this situation sometimes, suppose, imagine a hypothetical situation. You are this pilot. What would you do with your life after that? You are like a fighter pilot and you are now a paralyzed, a quadriplegic, paralyzed below the neck. What would be your, how would you live your life after this? If something like this happened. You try to earn a military award from the government. Okay. Perhaps, maybe, the government may give you an award. Although your accident has not really happened on the battlefield, as I said earlier. Sorry? Someone saying something? I can hear some voice, but I can't hear it. Whatever you might do, you might have different options to think about. What actually happened? This person, uh, yeah, I think someone where said can teach and alerts people by speaking. Yeah, that's a good answer. Blame yourself for the accident. Yeah, correct. That could definitely be true. I think someone's kept themselves on unmute, but if you're not it's accidentally unmuted, you can mute yourself again. If you really intend to talk, then please, you're welcome to unmute and talk. But if it's accidentally unmuted, please put yourself on mute. All right. So the point was that this person, MP Anil Kumar, was actually at the age of 24. He was a MiG 21 pilot, okay, Air Force pilot. And when he was riding a motorcycle, or like on the, just in the airfield, he was driving, just in the late in the night, he was just driving back after a, day of flying practice, just going back. And that time he suddenly got into a freak accident. And then, as he said, when he woke up, he couldn't feel anything below his neck. Imagine what he must have gone through when he felt in that situation. But what he did was, he said, okay, at least I can move this, right? It wasn't easy, right? I'm just saying it like we said it. It's not like directly he's going to say it. He went through a lot of pain, a lot of, self-doubt, a lot of anguish. But he fought on. And he said that, and he trained himself to type with a stylus in his mouth. You can see that, right? That stylus in his mouth, and this is very early. I'm talking about this way back. Okay? So therefore, it's not a recent incident. So that time these things are not common. But he somehow got that technology, and with his mouth, he began to type things, and he actually became an author. He wrote a book called From Airborne to Chairborne. That was the first book that he wrote, From Airborne to Chairborne. And he wrote another book called Born to Fly. And then he became a motivational speaker, and he inspired so many people. What does it take to become like that? It takes a lot of courage, it takes a lot of determination, and it takes a lot of resilience. And that is the resilience that we are going to try and understand what it is. All right. One more scenario. You're a young housewife driven out of your own house by your husband when you're just due to deliver your daughter. You are not accepted back by your mother and family either. And you find yourself abandoned on a railway platform. Think. A young housewife just given birth to a daughter, and your husband's family has driven you out. Your own family is refusing to take you back. And you are finding yourself abandoned on a railway platform. What would you do? Okay, somebody is unmuted, so please keep yourselves on mute. Unless you want to talk, of course, then you can unmute yourself. What happened? What do you think anyone would do in this situation? Yeah, Wagisi.
Settle abroad with the daughter.
How can you go abroad, Baba? You don't have a single rupee in your hand. अब्रॉड कैसे जाओगे? पासपोर्ट कहाँ से मिलेगा? वीजा कहाँ से मिलेगा?
She can go to the next town by the train.
ट्रेन के टिकट के लिए भी तो पैसा लगता है.
Unreserved.
अनरिजर्व में जाओ, वहां जाके क्या करेगी? नेक्स्ट टाउन ठीक है, शी वेंट देन.
I'm not sure.
Right? Of course, it's not an easy answer. I'm not expecting you all to give me right answers for this. No right answer. It's just an open-ended question. This lady who actually went through this, you know what she did? Can ask for government assistance, start a job with the money. Okay, all that's a good answer again. But this person who actually went through this, she did the most, the easy, or rather right, the most common thing that anyone would. She started begging. Okay, because she needed basic food. See, you guys are not. Situation is that she doesn't have basic food, not even a rupee in her pocket, and she has a young newborn child, infant with her. So, what would be the first priority? She would be to get something for her, for the kid, and just to survive. She needs to survive for the kid to survive. She started actually begging on the platform, and when she started begging, she realized that she was not the only one. There are hundreds of such people on begging, and there are so many kids out there who also were abandoned by their parents as well. And she said, I am not going to abandon anyone else. Yeah, I think someone you pointed out correctly. This lady is none other than Sindhu Tai Sapkar. She became the mother, or she has nurtured more than 1,500 orphans in her lifetime. Think about it. She was abandoned by her own parents and her own family. She didn't give up on family. She said, I will be family to everybody else. And she became a mother to 1,500 orphaned kids. And she got so many awards. The government also gave her Padma Shri in 2021 and all of that. And whatever she used to get any award money, you know what she would do? She would invest it in buying land or doing something, opening new orphanage, giving back to them. Nothing she took for herself. That is how she transformed her life from a near impossible situation. There's a Marathi movie also on her life, Me Sindhutai, I think. So, and then she of course she left her mortal coil in 2022, couple of years from today. But imagine how these people have dealt with things. And again, what can help you live like this? Quality that you need to go through not just these extremely impossible situations. Okay, they are like impossible situations that they have come up with, but even your daily life with all its pinpricks and all its little troubles here and there, all the nagging issues. The one quality that you need to go through life, irrespective of whatever we go through life and grow through life, as I know, and the only way you can do that is through the characteristic of resilience. I'm going to give you one more slightly more lighter example. I'm going to talk about, some of you may be knowing these famous examples. I'm going to talk about two sporting challenge. Okay. First, from the world of football. How many soccer fans here? Do you give me hands up? Football fans. And I'm using the word soccer because there's also American football, right? It's entirely different, not football. I'm talking about nobody. Okay, yeah. Tapan is there, okay. एक ही soccer fan है. Oh, that's strange. I thought there would be more than one. So okay, anyway, you know that there is a FIFA World Cup, right? इतना तो पता होगा, even if you're not a soccer fan, which happens and it's a very prestigious event, obviously World Cup. So this is I'm going to take you to FIFA World Cup final 2006. It was France versus Italy. Okay, very tense game was going on. The game was tied at 1-1. Okay, and for that, for that actually for that World Cup, there's a legendary footballer. His name is Zinedine Zidane. Okay, he actually retired. He came out of retirement to captain the French football team, and he led them to the finals of that event. And he was, like the best performer on that World Cup on the tournament. And in the finals, the score is tied 1-1 between France and Italy. That time there was an Italian defender called Materazzi. Now, those who have seen a little bit of football know that वो constantly कुछ ना कुछ चलते रहता है, right? नोक झोंक चलते रहता है between players. Some of the other keep on happening something. So like that, this Materazzi and Zidane के बीच में कुछ तो हुआ, and Materazzi said something to Zidane also said something, and Materazzi also said something. Some kind of sledging, which happens in sport. So we'll pause this situation here. Let's go to another sport. ये तो पता होगा. Okay. इसमें तो I'm not going to ask how many people are fans. ये तो पता ही होना चाहिए. I want to go to 1988, and India had gone to Pakistan. India touring Pakistan, and there was also the debut series of a young cricketer called Sachin Ramesh Tendulkar. पता नहीं नाम सुना होगा शायद. So this person का debut series था ये. So they were playing an exhibition match. कुछ तो match बारिश हो गया था. So they were playing actually a 20-over match. T20 before T20 ever happened. So like an exhibition T20 match they were playing. And I think Sachin was young. Sachin was batting, and Mushtaq Mohammad करके there was one. Mushtaq Ahmed, sorry, was a bowler. He was a young Pakistan bowler at that time. So when he bowled, Sachin hit him for 2 sixes in 1 over. And on the other side, there was a legendary Pakistan bowler. His name is Abdul Qadir. Okay, very, very big guy, big name in Pakistan cricket. So he came to Sachin and said, "तू बच्चा है कि तो बच्चे को मारता है. अगर दम है तो मुझे मार के दिखा." Because he hit Mushtaq Ahmed for 2 sixes कि तू वो भी बच्चा है, तो ही बच्चा है. तो बच्चा है तो बच्चे को मारता है. हिम्मत है तो मुझे मार के दिखा. Okay. Two different sporting events, high intensity situation, right? Both of them, between really fierce match situations, highly emotional situations going on. How did both these things turn out? First, let's go back to the football World Cup. Anyone knows what happened in that 2006 World Cup final? Nobody? I'm going to be before some of your times कि हाँ सर हमारे भैया पैदा होने के पहले की बात कर रहे हो आप. Maybe, but it's a very widely spoken about event in sporting history. So let me show you what happened. This happened. So the person on the white is Zinedine Zidane. The person in blue is Materazzi. Okay. Zidane lost it and gave him a headbutt. Famous Zidane headbutt. And the moment he did that, the referee gave him a red card. He was sent out of the game. Losing your captain and losing your best player when the match is tied in a World Cup final. It can't get worse than that for France. France lost the World Cup finals in penalties. Think. One moment of losing it, and France lost the World Cup, and all of Zidane's mehnat to bring them till that point got wasted. And what happened on this side in Pakistan? This happened in Pakistan. 604666. This is not a phone number. This is Abdul Qadir's over to Sachin. Sachin Tendulkar didn't say a word to Abdul Qadir. He didn't say a single word. He just listened to what Abdul Qadir said and remained quiet. Next over, when he got a chance to bat against him, he let his bat do the talking. And 604666 was what Abdul Qadir got from young Sachin Ramesh Tendulkar. So why am I comparing these two? Because these are two huge legends of the game, right? Zidane is a legend in football and Sachin is a legend, in cricket. But the way you respond to an equally emotional situation often decides how things turn out. Everybody's going to get emotionally charged up. It's going to happen to every one of us. But how we deal with those emotions is what often decides the difference between disaster and great achievements. Therefore, the one characteristic you need to go through all this is emotional resilience. Right? So now, it's not about emotional resilience. What is emotional resilience? It is the ability to adapt to a stressful situation or a crisis. So many examples, right? Extreme crisis in some people's lives, stressful situations. And our life also, stressful situations and crises keep happening. कभी कभी हम तो हर सिचुएशन को आजकल क्राइसिस ही बोलते हैं. आई एम हैविंग अ वार्डरोब क्राइसिस. मतलब क्या, ड्रेस इतने सारे हैं उसमें से क्या पहनो पता नहीं चल रहा है, तो वार्डरोब क्राइसिस हो जाता है वो. तो पीपल से कि एवरीथिंग, आजकल लोग ऐसे ही बोलते क्राइसिस हो गया है, क्राइसिस. But point is, we go through stressful situations all the time. How do we adapt to these situations? Is emotional resilience. How it does not mean to be unaffected by emotions. Some people think emotional resilience means like this: to remain like this, as though you have lost, you're permanently in meh mode, right? As though that meh emoji got stuck on your face. That is not what it is called to be emotionally resilient. You can have the variety of emotions. You can feel them. And you should never try to suppress them either. But you should you should deal with them and not allow them to cloud your judgment. So you feel all emotions, you will feel it. Anger, all the emotions, happiness, sorrow, excitement, misery, all those emotions we will feel, depending on what life throws at us. The point is not to feel them, the point is to feel them, but deal with them. Deal with them without allowing them to completely dictate what we do in our life. And that's what the difference is between a reaction and a response. If you get a situation immediately, what you react to it, right? It's called reaction, thoughtless reaction. And you keep the reflex action. You keep something hot, immediately your hand moves back. It's a reaction. Situation comes, you react. A response is something, that situation comes, you stop, you think, and you respond. So many times in that dilemma, right? Somebody says something, immediately हमने भी रिटर्न में जवाब दे दिया उसको. फिर अरे नहीं बोलना चाहिए था, ऐसे नहीं बोलना चाहिए था. बट क्यों हुआ? बिकॉज इमीडिएट रिएक्शन. इमोशंस वर सो बॉइलिंग कि वो बस निकल ही गया मुंह से. इंस्टेड ऑफ दैट, थिंक, एक मिनट पॉज करो, सोचो. And then you think, what is the right way? What is the right? Should I say right now, or what should I say right now? And then you do it. That is response. You need to be emotionally resilient to be able to respond to situations. And that's what emotional resilience gives, the ability to calmly think and then and then only come out with that intelligent response. So there are so many examples we can see in our life also of this, but this topic was not just emotional resilience, it's emotional resilience through Ramayana. Because one question is, I give all these things, you can get this anywhere, right? You go and search for emotional resilience, ask Chat GPT what is emotional resilience, it will also give you all these answers nowadays. So you don't really think, यारे इसमें क्या है, ये तो कोई भी बता देगा क्या है emotional resilience है. But the question is, how to be emotionally resilient, right? You want to be emotionally resilient, or what is emotional resilient, ठीक है, but कैसे? how to be emotionally resilient, right? That's the question. And for that, we say Ramayana has the answers to. So you don't have to look anywhere else. As members of Bharat or as Bharatiyas, we have answer in so many places right here. So तुम्हें answer मिल जाएगा. Because in Ramayana, there were epic challenges. And they came up with epic responses. So therefore, you can easily get enough there to how to understand it. And often we think, right, Ramayana में ना सब एकदम simple character है, black and white. That's how people generally think. महाभारत में ना बहुत ऐसे twisted characters हैं. रामायण में या तो अच्छे हैं या तो बुरे हैं. एकदम clean है. ऐसा नहीं है. If you read, especially if you read Valmiki Ramayana, you will see that there are so many dimensions and layers to every person's character. Ramchandraji himself has cried so many times in Ramayana. In so many places, he has shed tears. In so many places, he has got angry. In so many places, he has felt dejected. Hanumanji so many times has felt like, my life is worthless. Sita ji has so many times, at so many moments, she has felt hopeless. But they have managed to find a way to move on despite all of that. So there is a lot of lessons in them, especially if you try to understand those characters of Ramayana. They are not just one-dimensional, good, bad kind of characters, though we think like that. And especially as Valmiki Ramayana, it is said, it does two things. It has humanized divinity. Meaning what? All the divine beings or divine people are shown having very human-like emotions. So it has humanized divinity. At the same time, it shows how to be divinely human. Whether human तो हम सब हैं by default, हम default human हैं. But how to be divinely human is also something we can learn from. So humanized divinity and divinely human. Both these aspects we can understand from Valmiki Ramayana itself. And I would be basing most of today's sessions on Valmiki Ramayana. That is not to say that other versions of Ramayana don't have these things. They also have it in equal measure in different ways, different situations. But for today's reference, I will be referring to Valmiki Ramayana while describing most of the situations here. All right. So let's get set and let's move. So who is the first character that we think about when we say Ramayana?
Lord Ram.
Ram. Right. First character, so let's start with Ram. So for Ram, his resilience, the secret of his resilience came through moral clarity. So Ram ka resilience was because of his inner clarity. He always knew what is right and what is wrong. And he always stood with what is right. That was the secret of his strength. And there are so many ways in which we can prove it. We'll look at some of the incidents which bring this out. The first situation I'm going to look at. Or can you tell anyone what scene of Ramayana is being depicted here?
That lady who is asking Rama to leave the palace.
Okay. Well, who is that lady?
Uh, um,
Kaikeyi.
Kaikeyi.
Very correct. And who's the person with his hands on his head?
Dashrath.
Good. Now just picture the situation, okay? Supposing your parents had told you that tomorrow we'll go to in 2 days we'll go on a vacation, okay? To a place that you really wanted to go. And then you will be so excited about it, right? And just before that morning, when you're all set to leave, say, sorry, plan change हो गया, हम vacation के लिए नहीं जाना है. Imagine तुम्हारा reaction क्या होगा तभी? You always do like this. कितना मैंने plan किया? I told all my friends that I'm going to go on vacation. Every time you do this, blah, 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 full on, we will get into firing. Even if a vacation plan gets cancelled. Think about Rama's situation. He was told, तुम राजा बने वाले हो. पूरे अयोध्या में ढिंडोरा पिट चुका है. He has already told Sita ji, he has told everybody. Everybody, and he has gotten ready also. Next, उसके previous night को they do special व्रत. अगले दिन तुम्हारा ये होने वाला है करके ये स्पेशल व्रत स्पेशल पूजा एवरीथिंग इज डन एंड अर्ली मॉर्निंग ही गेट्स अप he gets special bath and he wears all those robes and all of that specifically and he's all set, he's preparing his mind. Okay, now I'm going to go for the coronation and now I'm going to be given the responsibility of take of ruling Ayodhya. All that is happening on one end and at that time when somebody is keep आपको महाराज जी ने बुलाया है KK जी के chamber में he is there, he wants to talk to you. Rama goes there. He says innocently, without aware of anything. And he says, yes, father. He says his father is in an extremely pitiable condition. And he's very shocked. What is going on? What happened to my father? He keeps asking, Father, क्या हुआ? क्या हुआ आपको? क्या हुआ आपको? And his father is unable to even look at him in the face. And then KK says, look, I take this boon, blah, blah, story, and as per boon number 1, Bharat will be the king instead of you. As per boon number 2, you will have to go to the forest for 14 years. Imagine what it might have felt at that, how Ramji would have felt at that time. We may think he was the Bhagwan hai, but don't think of him as Bhagwan because that's not the point of him coming there. He's come there as a human being to show us how to feel human emotions. So imagine how he must have felt broken and shocked. But you know what he says? He says, that's all, mother. इतना ही था पिताजी इसके लिए आप इतना हिचकिचा रहे थे कोई बड़ी बात नहीं नो प्रॉब्लम मैं अभी जाता हूं आई एम सो हैप्पी कि भरत राजा बनेगा बहुत खुशी है मुझे मैं तो अभी निकल लेता हूँ अरे ये तो बताने के लिए इतनी खुशी आप और आपको मदर ये सब के लिए पिताजी से वरदान वगैरह क्या जरूरत थी आप मुझे बोल देते डायरेक्ट मैं इमीडिएटली सुन लेता और ये तो जरूरत ही नहीं कि आपको कुछ करने की जरूरत है आई विल गो लीव इमीडिएटली दिस इज हाउ ही रिस्पॉन्ड्स यू मे थिंक अरे राम जी थोड़े शायद भोले थे बहुत इज वेरी इनोसेंट भोले भले तो इमीडिएटली मान गए उनको पता नहीं चला के का इसमें क्या षड्यंत्र है एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट बट दैट्स नॉट ट्रू बिकॉज इफ यू सी आफ्टर दैट Ram has long conversations with his mother Kaushalya, with Lakshman, with Sita ji, with so many people. And in that, he very clearly says, I know what is happening here. I know why did this happen. I know that this is a very, very dangerous situation. But he says, I accept it because I know that if I don't, first of all, I said, it's my father's question of my father's oath. And if I break it, it's an insult to him. And second, Bharat, mere se bhi acha banda hai. He will do good to Ayodhya. So I don't mind him becoming king at all. And for the benefit of everybody, I have to leave. And he convinces everyone why he has to leave. We don't have to convince of Sita ji, of course. Sita ji has to convince us something else. We'll come to that when we talk about Sita ji. But Lakshman ji convinces, Mother Kaushalya ji convinces. And how is he able to? Because he knows, he has analyzed all the scenarios in his head. What will happen if I say no? Why should I say no? What should I say yes? What will happen if I say yes? What will happen if I say no? What is the right thing to do in this case? Yes, the right thing is for me to go to forest immediately without delay. And because the longer I remain, the more people of Ayodhya will get upset, more Mother Kaikai will be anxious, more I will give pain to my father. So I will leave immediately. All that he has done, moment mein thinking. That is his moral clarity of Ramchandra ji. And that's how he is able to say that very smoothly. Huh? And in Tulsi Ramayana, when he goes and meets Mother Kaushalya, he says, Tata deen mohi kanana raju. So very beautiful line it is. He says, Tata, my father, mother, Tata deen mohi. My father has given me kanana raju. Kanana means forest. He has given me a forest ka kingdom. That's how he breaks the news to his mother. Instead of saying he has exiled me, he said, he has given me the forest का kingdom. दो अलग अलग kingdom थे ये वाला kingdom भरत को दिया forest वाला kingdom मुझे दिया. Think of how he is saying those things with what clarity and what standards he has set for himself to say that without the moment of hesitation. That is called moral clarity. This is one incident. Second incident. You know that the whole Vali Sugriv ka, I'm not going to go to the full story right now, but there was enmity and now if you look at it, what was Ramji's main problem? His main problem was that he wanted to find Sita ji. He met Sugriv first, no doubt. And of course, this Kabanta had told you go and meet Sugriva. But having gone there, having found out the situation, what would have been in the best interest of Ram? To side with Sugriv or to side with Wali? Think about it. राम जी को तो सीता जी चाहिए था. सीता जी थी रावण के पास. Who had the ability to threaten Ravan and get Sita ji back? Wali या सुग्रीव?
Bali.
Wali, right? So it would make more sense for Ram to side with Wali. But why did he side with Sugriv? स्ट्रैटेजी में गलती है ना. गलत स्ट्रैटेजी. पर वाली खुद बोलता है राम को, राम बाद में, कि राम इफ यू वांटेड सीता मेरे पास आते मैं दिला देता तुमको. He says that when he was, when he's wounded and he's meeting Ram. So why did Ramji do the mistake of siding with Sugriv instead?
Sugriva was good in nature, and he was his Bali was uh, Sugriva was of a good nature, whereas Bali was more of like a villain.
Wali was more of an evil, Sugriv was dharmic, and Wali was adharmic. That's the key. Now Ramchandra ji says to Wali, you have abducted your own brother's wife, Ruma. What kind of animalistic behavior is this? You are an adharmi. Your younger brother's wife is like your daughter, and you forcefully abducted her. What kind of behavior is this? And Bharat has told, I am my Bharat's representative in this forest. He is the Raja of all, the whole thing, not just Ayodhya. And as his representative, मुझे दंड देना था तुमको. तुमने जो गलती की उसके लिए. So Ramji is not looking for his own personal milestone there. मुझे सीता जी कैसे मिलेगी जल्दी? He is looking from the point of what is dharma, and my duty towards dharma is more than my duty towards anybody else. Therefore, I have to punish Bali and side with Sugriva. Moral clarity. Think every incident is very beautiful if you analyze it. Third incident. Okay, what incident is this? Correct. This is the incident of Vibhishan meeting Ramchandra ji on the shore of the ocean. Now, when Vibhishan ji came, Ramchandra ji, he called a small council and he asked everybody, what do you think? Should we take Vibhishan in or not? And सब लोगों ने अलग अलग ओपिनियन दिया. Some said कि विभीषण को विभीषण तो रावण का भाई है, वो स्पाई की तरह आया होगा, उसको मत ले. Some people said कि अरे विभीषण को ना एक काम करते हैं, हम उसको पहले इंटरोगेट करेंगे पूरी तरह. We'll subject him to full third degree interrogation and then we will take him. Some people said उसको लेते हैं, वो उसके साथ में ना अपना कोई साथ में हमेशा रख देते हैं और देखते हैं कि वो क्या है, and then we will decide कि उसको रखना है कि नहीं रखना. And finally, the हनुमान जी का जब टर्न, हनुमान जी से राम जी आप क्यों टाइम पास कर रहे हो? He didn't say like that, but he says कि राम जी आप क्यों हम सबको पूछ रहे हो? आपको पता है कि क्या करना है. You know what is right and wrong. विभीषण अच्छा पर्सन है, आपको देख के पता चल गया होगा. And when I went to Lanka, I had met Vibhishan and I know that he's a good guy. But you already know what is the right thing to do. You and therefore don't need to ask us. You do what is right. We will all follow you. Ramchandra ji also, he didn't remember. Ramchandra ji said कि ऐसा करेंगे, everybody would have agreed. But as a good leader, he gave everybody a chance to express their opinions. Then Ramji says, look, I am of the opinion that if somebody who has not done harm to me, Vibhishan has not caused me any harm, and he has come to me for refuge. How can I abandon somebody who has come to me for refuge? वो मेरे फितरत में नहीं, it is not in my nature at all. I cannot do that, so I don't know how to do that. If Ravan comes and apologizes and comes, then I will forgive him also. So Vibhishan को मैं क्यों forgive नहीं करूँ? उसने तो कुछ किया ही नहीं है मेरे साथ इस तरह. And therefore I accept him wholeheartedly. And when Vibhishan met Ramji, he addressed him as Lankesh. How Lankesh? He already made him Lankapati. Vibhishan had not even said anything. I want, kuch nahi bola unhone. That is how Ramchandra ji's thinking was. So therefore, absolutely moral clarity. Now, I'm going to talk about one more incident which is a little dicey. Okay. I want to know all of your honest opinions. Was Rama right to send Sita away to the forest? तो एकदम बोल रहा ना moral clarity एकदम right and wrong. ये वाला इंसिडेंट थोड़ा सा खटकता है, right? He sent away him away. Yes, Amrita?
In my personal opinion, I feel it was not right to send her to the forest, especially when she was in that situation.
Right.
Just because of the fear or whatever you call it, that the Praja will tell ki why is he still keeping her with him. I feel that is the reason he sent him, but I'm not very much in favor of that
That's
decision
fine.
he took.
That's why we are debating it, right? That's okay. That's fine. Okay, good. Fair question. Yes, Dharani?
I think as a leader, his action was justified because the subjects will obviously follow their leader subconsciously also. Even if they don't want to send their wives away, they will still subconsciously look up to Ram ji. But I feel that as a husband, he somewhere failed. Like,
Okay. So you were successful as a leader, but failure as a husband. Okay. Good. Some more opinions, please.
But the point in this is what continuing with what Dharini said. Sita Devi did not take it as she was ready to accept. Actually, what I've heard is Ramji did not tell her to go to the forest. She had heard from some people, and then she thought that it'll be better if I myself go to the forest rather than him telling me to go, because it will be difficult for him to tell it to me. I think that's what I've heard. So in that sense, he did not fail as a husband.
No. Well, Valmiki Ramayana doesn't say that's how it happened. So I'll describe the situation in Valmiki Ramayana just a bit. But that no, Ramji did want to send Sita ji away from the palace, and he instructed Lakshman ji to do it. So Lakshman ji did it, and Sita ji did not know about it actually till the time she actually reached outside the palace.
Bhaiya, can you tell what happened after Lakshmanji took Sita Mata?
Yeah, I will tell that surely. Okay, well, let me then describe the whole situation to you all, and then maybe you can tell again whether it is right or wrong. So I have to go to one night, okay, in the palace garden. Ramji and Sitaji were relaxing. Okay, they were just relaxing. They enjoyed some nice, watching some entertainment. And then after they were relaxing in the garden, कोई नहीं था, सिर्फ वो दो ही थे. अकेले में कुछ gentle moments they were spending with each other. And at that time, Sitaji was already she was pregnant. Right? She was going to give birth to Rama's child. I mean, they didn't know they were going to be twins, but anyway. So he said that no, Sita, I'm very happy. You ask me whatever you want. They say, right? Generally also the pregnant women kuch mange to husband generally tries to fulfill. So he says ki whatever you want, you ask, I will give you. So Sitaji said ki by God's grace, I have got everything with me. You are there, so I don't have anything specific to ask, but I just had one desire. Bolo bolo. I really enjoyed the time I spent with all the sages, in different ashrams, when we were in the forest. So that is one thing I miss in the palace life. The time that I spent with all the sages, the satsang that I got, that is one thing that is lacking. So that's one thing that if I can get, I would be really happy. तो राम जी ने बस डोंट वरी आई विल मेक अरेंजमेंट्स इतना ही था बिल्कुल मैं अभी अरेंजमेंट करता हूँ फॉर यू टू विजिट सम आश्रम ऑफ सेजेस so ये इंसिडेंट होता है देन सीता जी रिटायर्स टू हर एंड राम जी गोज बिकॉज राम जी हैज अ स्पेशल नाइट कोर्ट ओके where he tries to take candid feedback from all the people about what is happening in Ayodhya. So as a king, he wants to know, but everybody सबके सामने तो सब अच्छा ही बोलेंगे. पीछे some people will tell more honest opinion. And it used to be more like a more relaxed session where Ramji would not more of sit and एकदम ऐसा राजा जैसा. He would sit little bit more ऐसे opening allowing people to open up a little bit more. So like that they were having some nice fun discussions, and then he asked him any particular news from the people. One of them said ki Bhadra, his name was, if I'm not wrong. He said on the minister, he said that Ramji, I will be very honest. What I'm sharing, I don't like it, but I have to share. I'm hearing increasingly people of Ayodhya saying that you have, become so infatuated with your wife that you don't even care about how she is or what her character is. She was happily living in Ravan's, palace, and then you first of all took her back. That itself was something that people cannot accept, and you're even spending your whole life with her, and you made her our queen. So how infatuated you must be with your wife that you have become like this, and how shameless is Sita that she is, despite being, having gone through all such things, she's accepting her position and becoming a queen and ruling us like this. And if this is how Ramji is going to set the benchmark that anything chalega, kuch bhi chalta hai, then we will also have to live like that. And we also cannot control our own, families. Anything they do, we'll have to accept. So this kind of, words and rumors are spreading all over Ayodhya. So he says that. That's is what he says too. So it's not some dhobi he said. Okay, that's not what. कोई धोबी ने नहीं, ये पूरे अयोध्या में ये बात चल रही थी. Rama hears this, every word hurts him here. He says, okay, everybody is dismissed. Then he goes quietly. He sits in a corner. He cries, and then he somehow gathers his tears and he sends for Lakshman. He calls actually, all his brothers. All his three brothers come rushing. क्या हो गया, इतने रात गए भैया, क्यों बुला रहे हैं? And he said, and he just describes in brief whatever he heard from the kingdom, and he says that I have taken a decision that I am going to abandon Sita. I want Lakshman, take Sita tomorrow and leave her near, on the other side of the Ganga, near Valmiki Rishi Ashram. Leave her there and come back after making sure she's safely there, reached there. And this is my decision. Please don't talk to me about this because I am totally pained. I have no words right now to even talk to you. But please carry out the if you have even little bit of respect or love for me, carry out this order of mine. And he goes. Lakshmanji obviously is shattered. The next day he comes to Sita ji, and Sita ji is thinking, अरे हाँ, कल रात को ही तो मैंने बोला था राम जी को कि मुझे जाना है, तो अरेंजमेंट किया है उन्होंने. तो she said, चलो. And Lakshmanji and Sita ji quietly, Lakshmanji drives the chariot and takes, and Sita ji follows without saying a word. I mean, Sita ji she sees कि Lakshmanji is little disturbed, and she keeps asking him, क्या हो गया, घर में सब ठीक है क्या, उर्मिला ठीक है, everything is okay, how is mother Sumitra? He keeps answering in monosyllables. हाँ, सब ठीक है, okay. And if they finally reach the banks of the river and crossing over the river, almost the outskirts of the where the forest was just beginning, जहाँ पे वहीं पे वाल्मीकि ऋषि का आश्रम भी था. There Lakshman ji tells the whole thing to Sita ji. कि ऐसा हुआ, so Ram ji has taken this decision, so I am here to convey. Of course, Sita ji is also equally shocked. She also shattered. And then she gathers herself and she responds to Lakshman, says a few things. I'll come to that in a bit. And then Lakshmanji pretends to leave, where he's just watching from the sidelines. And Sita ji actually goes, wanders into the forest in a very tearful state. And people of Valmiki Ashram see some lady coming, and they take her to Valmiki Rishi, who obviously knows who she is, and they give her, ashray there. This is the story. Now that you heard the whole story, come back to the question. Was Rama right to send Sita away to the forest? Kali is saying it would have been hard for Sita to stay in Ayodhya amidst all deformation. Her kids would have grown up by such harsh words. It was best for her to leave the kingdom. Moreover, it's human psychology to stone popular idols. Okay. As a king, Rama's decision was right. Okay. Sorry, go on. Somebody was saying something. Just by sending Sita, Rama reversed it. He took the blame on himself. So, in the interest, I would love to debate more on this. Interest of time, I'm moving on a little bit. One thing was, let's look at the big picture. Okay, let's look at Rama the king. All of you, some of you said this. As a king, had people raised questions on Rama's character and said he is unfit to be king, do you think Rama would have continued to sit on the throne or to remain in Ayodhya?
No.
He would have left instantly, right? So that same standards he applied to Sita as well. Had the people said the same thing about Lakshman, Had people said the same things about Lakshman, do you think Ramji would have kept Lakshman? No. He would have said Lakshman to leave, asked Lakshman to leave as well. So whoever was, as a king, he was responsible and he had to respect the mandate of people. As a king, he had to respect the mandate of the people. And remember, it was a monarchy, but he took it like democracy, really speaking. He could have just said, forget, जो लोगों को भाड़ में जाए, लोगों ने कहने दे. I will do what I know is right. No. As a king, he was actually following democratic principles there, even though it was not really a democracy. So आज तो people like democracy अभी आया. The democratic thought was already there. King cannot rule without the mandate of the people. And my wife as a queen does not have the mandate of the people, so she cannot be a queen to them. And remember, queen was not just some figurative position. Queen had a lot of responsibilities in the governance of the kingdom. So therefore, if people are not willing to accept her authority, it will cause chaos in the kingdom. So therefore, as a king, he had to take that choice. There was no doubt in this. There's nothing he could do about it. Now Rama is a son. Now suppose Rama said, okay Sita, तुम्हें नहीं, जिस अयोध्या में तुम्हारे लिए जगह नहीं है, वहां इस राम के लिए भी कोई जगह नहीं है. चलो हम दोनों चलते हैं. It would have been very heroic, right? Had he done that, आज का हम तब ताली बजाते होते. वाह राम वाह. इसे कहते हैं husband. And he would have walked away, walked away with Sita. Had he done that, what would have happened to his mothers? Kaushalya, Sumitra, Kaikeyi. They were already old and they had already borne the separation of Rama for so many years. Somehow they survived. Do you think they would survive another round of separation from Rama? They would insist that हम भी साथ में चलते हैं. इसे उतने उम्र में उनको लेके जंगल में जाना ठीक होगा? As a son, he could not do that to them. So he could not leave along with Sita ji. And no matter how much he suffered, he had to be with the people of Ayodhya, with this family. Because as a son, he could not abandon. Same thing is Rama the brother. Because if he went, Lakshman would follow, Bharat would follow, entire Ayodhya will collapse if Ram left. So to preserve his family and to preserve the kingdom, he suffered alone. Of course, Sita ji also suffered. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that he suffered. He would have been so much more happier walking away with Sita ji from Ayodhya. And remember, and therefore and then if you want to see Ram's love for Sita, you should see how he cries and cries in the throughout the Saranyakand, Sundarkand and Kishkinda-kand. So therefore, it was not an easy choice for him. But he could not have, for all these roles, he could not have done that. Now what about husband? Somebody is a failure as a husband. Kali made a very good point. Had he kept Sita on, forgetting everything as a husband, I care for my wife. How can you ask me about a pregnant wife? I will keep her. People would have continued to blame Sita. And but now nobody points a finger at Sita. Everybody till today blames Rama. कोई सीता जी के बारे में कोई शब्द नहीं कहता, सब राम को गाली देते. He took that upon himself. He said, and he knows Sita ji also. Sita ji is very sensitive. If Sita ji really had heard what people said, she would have she would have gone into the earth. Remember, second time Sita ji, she directly went into the earth. She said, I am not going to sit and listen to this more anymore. She was very sensitive. He knew that. And therefore he said, you go. And he knew that his wife wanted to go to Rishis anyway. And he said, better for her to be there in satsang with Valmiki Rishi than to remain in this palace with these people cursing her. So as a husband, it was the right decision that he took. Even though it was a painful decision for both of them. And by extension, it was a right decision for his children also. Remember what wonderful sanskars his children got from Valmiki Rishi. Right? They were so learned, so great warriors they became. यहाँ पैलेस में रहते तो उनको वो यही सुनना पड़ता कि तुम्हारे माँ ऐसी है, तुम्हारे पिताजी ऐसे हैं. And what sanskar would have fallen on them? Even as a father, he abandoned his children, and he didn't abandon them, really speaking. He relocated them to a more favorable growing up environment for them. That is what, and though he chose not to meet them and suffer in that. Sita ji had the solace of having her children with them. Ramji didn't even have that. He was alone. Yeah, I know he has his brothers and all of that, but his own family, he didn't have anybody. So you analyze. I'm not saying you agree with me immediately, but you think on these lines and think and then see if what Ramji said was right or wrong. Now I'll tell what Sita ji said when Lakshman said like this. She was extremely sad, extremely dejected. She cries, but then she recovers and says, I understand why Ram has done this and tell Ram that as his Ardhangini or as the queen of Ayodhya, I share his responsibility and therefore I accept this. She never questions Rama. And she adds, to remind Rama that is chill that to treat the people of Ayodhya like he would treat his own brothers and not have any negative feeling for them. This is what Sita says. Think about what character these people are. And then when Ram then she says, convey my pranams to everybody in the family. And it's my misfortune that I cannot be with them and serve them more. That is how Sitaji responds to the situation. So therefore, this is not an easy decision, but it was the right decision. That the only decision that Rama could have taken. Again, please think. I'm not asking you to get convinced immediately. Think, but please read the right Ramayana first of all. Read the don't see some serials. Okay? Yeah, Dharani.
Bhaiya, then I'd say that Ram is not to be blamed. The people don't deserve his kingship then, no, Bhaiya? If they couldn't like be dharmic themselves, how did they deserve the kingship of the Ram Rajya, the glorious Ram Rajya?
Because the point is that as a here whether people fulfill their responsibility towards Ram or not, Ram will fulfill his responsibilities to the people. And it is said that the Ayodhya underwent a lot of natural calamities after Sita ji left, and the people suffered. But they didn't suffer because Ram deliberately did any misgovernance. But people suffered once Sita ji left. Then the Ashwamedha Yajna had to be done to regain the glory of Ayodhya. So the consequences will be there, karmic consequences for what they did. They suffered for it. But not that Ramji deliberately let them suffer. No, he did his best. But nature didn't support. अभी भूमि माता की बेटी के साथ किया तो भूमि माता तो उनको परिणाम होगा ही उसका. But anyway, the point is, yeah, but Ram is not going to be petty like that. तुमने मेरे ऐसे कि मैं तुम्हारे को नहीं चाहता, जाओ. That's not how, and that's not how Sita ji also wanted, right? Ramji to do. Any more thoughts, any more questions? I know I've taken a lot of time on this, but it was an important point. Okay, so please think on this more. And now, how do we strengthen our moral clarity? Okay, Ramji has set the benchmark, right? हम वहां तक कैसे पहुंचेंगे? Few simple pointers. First, remember the universal values. Right? The values like honesty, truthfulness, they are there for a reason. Integrity. All these values are there for a reason, and they have time-tested values. And because by following those values, everybody benefits. That's why those values are. So identify some of those values and stick to those values. Like Ragul Riti Sadat Chali Aaye, Pran Jaye par Vachan na Jaye. The integrity was a very strong one. So therefore, remember that so universal values is one of the first and foremost things. Second is something called sacrifice versus compromise. When you give up something lower for something higher, it is called a sacrifice. Like when you give up something higher for something lower, it is called as a compromise. Like suppose you have an important competition coming up, and for that you have to say give up a little bit of your sleep and prepare for it. It's a sacrifice. You're giving up your sleep for the sake of that competition, which is a higher value. On the other hand, suppose competition जाओ भाड़ मुझे सोना है, मुझे तो सोना ही है. So that's just a compromise because you're compromising with yourself, and you instead of preparing for that, you're giving up that for the sake of few more 1 hour of sleep or whatever. That's a compromise. So sacrifice and compromise. That's another. We should know what when it is sacrifice. Ramji, so many examples I gave, right? Sacrifice and compromise. And one important thing is try to read more about these inspiring personalities. Okay. See, some people, they think that Ramayana has been written just to convey the moral values. That's not the truth. Ramayana is the history, it is itihaasa. But there are so many moral values we can take from it. In the same way, there are so many great people's lives who, if you just read about them and understand them, you will understand what standards they lived by. And that will raise your own standards. And your moral clarity will become stronger. There are some few steps by which you can strengthen moral clarity. So we saw the first character of Rama, emotional resilience from Rama. अब राम जी के बारे में इतना बात किया, तो next we have to speak about Sita, right? And Sita ji ka resilience came through faith and love. One example we just saw, right, in that episode of going to that. And there's so many more beautiful episodes in Sita ji's life. She has subjected to some of the greatest trials that anybody can go through. Okay. But everywhere her character shines. When Ramji goes, very beautiful incidents are there. When Ramji goes and tells Sita, no, ऐसा ऐसा मुझे कैकेयी जी का वगैरह वगैरह हुआ है, so I'm going to the forest for 14 years. तो सीता जी, तुम सीता जी ने, सीता तुम यहाँ पे रह के सबका ख्याल रखना, सब लोग तुम्हारे मेरी माँ का ख्याल रखो, सबका ख्याल रखो. सीता जी, hello, what are you talking about? You are going to go and I'm going to sit and enjoy palace life? You thought that is possible? You thought I was of such a low character that I would happily send my husband to suffer alone while I enjoy? You thought I was such a person, Ram? इतना ही तुमको बात पूछा मेरे बारे में? She asked like a direct question to Ram. You thought I was such a low character कि मैं अकेले बैठ के enjoy करूंगी और तुम जाओगे forest? How can I be like that? How can you even think I will accept this? And then Ramji tries to convey, she says, देखो जंगल लाइफ ना ये सब बोलने की चीज नहीं है, बहुत डिफिकल्ट है. तो डिस्क्राइब सो मेनी डिटेल्स, जंगल में ये होता है, वो होता है, ये नहीं होता, वो नहीं होता. तो राम जी सेज की, सीधा लिसन्स ऑल एंड सेज की, ठीक है, तुम तो ये सब भोगने वाले हो ना, तो मैं क्यों नहीं? व्हाई डू यू थिंक आई कैन नॉट डू इट इफ यू कैन डू इट? आई कैन आल्सो डू ऑल दिस थिंग्स. बट राम जी से नहीं, वो बहुत डिफिकल्ट है. देन शी सीता जी नाउ शी स्टार्ट्स बिकम सरकास्टिक. शी सेड, लगता है ना मुझे जनक मैंने मेरे पिताजी को बताना पड़ेगा कि आपने किससे शादी करा दी मेरी. ये तो इतने मतलब मुझे लगा कि बहुत बड़े हैं, महान है वगैरह वगैरह, बट ये कह रहे हैं कि वो सिर्फ मेरा ख्याल भी नहीं रख सकते जंगल में, इतने भी केपेबल नहीं है कि वो मेरा ख्याल रखे जंगल में. ये क्या किंगडम का ख्याल रखेंगे? She actually breathes fire with her words, okay? So Sita ji is not some general, very quiet in the issue, बहुत बात ही नहीं करती थी, वैसा नहीं है. Sita ji is fiery character. तो राम जी तो नाउ आई अंडरस्टैंड सीता जी इज रियली अपसेट. तो ठीक है, चलो चलते हैं, अब इतना बोल रहे, चलो हम. मुझे भी ना एक्चुअली आई वांटेड यू टू कम विथ मी, बट मैं कैसे खुद से बोलूं, सो आई एम हैप्पी दैट यू आर कमिंग, सो चलो आ जाओ. दैट वाज ऑफ कोर्स देयर लव फॉर ईच अदर, but they both went. So that was the first time you can see Sita ji very clearly deciding that she's not going to sit and enjoy things when her and Ramji is in suffering. That was her great love that she had for Ram, and the faith that Ram will be there for me. Then this incident. Think, कभी हम क्लास में ना when we are up against some bullies, right? We feel so desperate at that time, right? अगर सब लोग क्लास में एक हो जाते हैं और हम अकेले बुलीड हो गए, we feel like हमको इतना बुरा लगता है ना तभी, यार कोई नहीं है मेरे साथ, यार कुछ नहीं ना. We feel so desperate, so bad we feel when everybody tries to bully us. Think of Sita ji. Entire kingdom of Lanka was against her. एक दो एक्सेप्शन छोड़ा तो. एंड रावण रोज आके धमकी देता था, रोज सुबह शाम. वो जाएगा तो उसके साथ जो है, the kind of धमकीज they used to give is very pathetic. वाल्मीकि रामायण we should read. One of them says, now छोड़ो सीता जी को ना, मुझे कन्विंस मत करो ज्यादा, मैं ना मुझे ना उसके लिवर को खाना है. रावण ने प्रॉमिस किया है कि अगर ये बात नहीं मानेगी ना तो इसको काट के हमको दे देगा खाने के लिए, तो मुझे ना लिवर खाना है सीता का. Literal she says things like that. Imagine listening surrounded by people like that who want to eat you. And Ravan coming every day and giving, and more than abusing her, abusing Ram. Everybody around him also abusing Ram. क्या तुम उस वनवासी के लिए इतना सोच रही हो, ब्ला ब्ला, वो कुछ नहीं कर सकता, वो तो तुमको बचा भी नहीं पाया. Listening to all that day in, day out, for so many months, she held on. And the only time she decided to give up her life was when when Ravan said, I am going to kill you. So she said कि उसके हाथ से मैं क्यों मरूं? I will not die in such a sinner's hands. I would rather end my own life. And that time, of course, Hanumanji goes and Says, "Nahi, nahi, mother, don't worry. Ramji is coming." Think of what courage. She used to say Ravan openly. She used to, you know, she has such strong words she used to use. सबके सामने रावण को उसके मुंह पे she used to give. Imagine the courage that she had there. Strength. But her love and faith on Rama was that strong. She used to say, and रावण ने एक बार इतना भड़क गया तो वो तलवार निकाल ही रहा था सीता को मारने के लिए. And Mandodari and others stopped him, saying, "You don't do this. You don't kill a woman. Don't do this." So imagine, itna she was sharp and she would back answer Ravan in front of everybody, in his own people. He's sitting in Lanka. What person, what courage she had to do that. Now I'm going to talk about the third controversial subject. राम जी ने सीता जी का अग्नि परीक्षा ली, सीता जी की अग्नि परीक्षा ली. That is not true at all. At the end of after the war is over, Hanuman ji is told to convey to Sita ji ki she has कि राम जी जीत गए हैं, सीता जी को बता दो. No, and also Vibhishan says to go to Vibhishan, please make sure Sita ji has has a bath and wears good ornaments, good dresses, and then bring her here. So when Vibhishan goes, Sita ji says, "No, I want to meet Ram like this only." No, but she said, "No, Ram ji का ये order है कि आपको properly अच्छे से dress करके आपको सब ये करके लेके आना है." Why Sita ji said that, because she was anxious. कि मुझे, if everybody sees me like this, मतलब she was in a very, all her clothes were soiled, dirty, her hair was all messed up, and she was in a very, very, that kind of, she had become very lean and completely lost all her that way. So she thought, if I come and meet Ram and everybody like this, they will know I did not enjoy in Ravan's kingdom, right? That I was suffering there. So सबको ये पता तो चलेगा मेरे बारे में. She herself had a doubt in her heart कि लोग मेरे बारे में क्या सोचेंगे. But what when Ramji said ना कि नहीं तुम अच्छी तरह से नहा धो के आओ, it was Ramji's way of assuring Sita कि मुझे पता है तुम, you are fine, you come proper, you don't have to appear, prove to me anything. That was Ramji's silent way of telling her that कि तुम नहा धो के अच्छे से ड्रेस पहन के सब आओ. So when she came like that, it said कि when she got down from the palki, she was very very self conscious कि how everybody was looking at her. So that time Ramji thought कि नहीं, मुझे लगता है I have to do something to make sure Sita ji feels assured. So he suddenly changes his whole mood. Till that time, his mood is very tender and and then suddenly he becomes very sharp. And he said, Sita, I have rescued you. My job is done, but I can't accept you now. You go and live with whoever, wherever you want to go, you go and live, but you can't live as my wife anymore. Sorry. And that's all Ramji says. He doesn't say you go and prove yours, nothing he says. Sita ji says, what? How can you say that to me? After all that, then she says, Lakshman, light a fire here, and I will enter into it right away. Sita ji demands it, not Ramji asks her to do. And then Lakshman ji is confused, ये क्या हो रहा है ये सब? And then when he looks at Ramji is like silently saying, जो Sita ji बोल रहे करो. Because Sita ji wanted to show to the world of her purity. And this is not the first time though. And why should she light a fire? इसके पहले भी एक इंसिडेंस है. When हनुमान जी का पूंछ को आग लगाया था ना, तब लोगों ने बोला, अरे तुमसे जो बंदर मिलने आया था उसके पूंछ पे हमने आग लगाई है. You know what Sita ji did at that time? In Sundarkand it comes. She immediately invokes fire. And she says, hey Agnidev, if I have remained true to Rama, please be gentle to Hanuman. Don't burn his tail. And Agnidev doesn't burn Hanuman's tail. So she already knows she's pure. And she knows, अरे जब सीता जी के कहने पे अग्निदेव ने हनुमान जी की पूंछ भी नहीं जलाई, तो अग्निदेव सीता जी को कैसे जलाएंगे? So Sita ji doesn't enter fire knowing she is going to get burnt or nothing. She goes there knowing that nothing will happen to her but she knows that this is the best way for everybody to know, and I will feel assured, and Ramji also will not have to justify himself. That's a different story कि करने के बावजूद वही हुआ जो राम जी को लगा कि होगा. But so Sita ji herself chose to enter fire so that everybody will know and Ramji also will feel at ease. That is the character. That is the faith and strength that she had. So therefore, अग्नि परीक्षा किसी ने ली नहीं सीता जी की. सीता जी ने खुद से दी. Remember this one thing. Okay. So now I'm going to do a quick quiz. I'm going to show you a few images and a clue. You have to tell me who this is. Okay. See the image? For the sake of my child, I scaled new heights. Who is this? Come on, think. Clue. She's from the state of Maharashtra. Not maid servant exactly. But yes, she was a name. Milkwoman, correct? What is her name? Anybody? Her name was Hirakni. Very beautiful story. I'll tell you very short. There was a fort in Shivaji Maharaj's kingdom, and they would close the gates at sunset. And next day they would again open the gates at sunrise. And one day it so happened she had a very small child, basically, Hirakni, and she had left her child in her village, and she got delayed to come out of the fort. The fort के दरवाजे बंद हो गए, sunset हुआ तो. And then they said no matter how much she would plead, they were not ready to open the gates. But they said कि नहीं, अब बंद हो गए तो अब कल सुबह ही खुलेगा. And she was like, my small baby, my infant, he will cry without me, and I need to give him milk. How can he will suffer if I don't reach there. So what she did, she scaled the walls of the fort, and she scaled down the steep incline of that mountain face. And that mountain face was so steep that there was that, the Shivaji Maharaj के forces thought कि वहां से कोई enemy आ ही नहीं सकता. तो वहां पे कोई पहरा भी नहीं था. But she climbed down all the middle of the night in darkness, just the moonlight. She climbed down all of that and reached her child somehow. And next day morning she came for next day's duty, and they were like, अरे तुम बाहर से कैसे आ रही हो? तुमको तो कल तुमने झगड़ा किया था हमसे इतना, तुम अंदर थी, बाहर कैसे? She said like, and then they were shocked. They took her to Shivaji Maharaj. Shivaji Maharaj said that you show me from where you climbed down, and she showed. He was so shocked. He touched her feet and said, "This is you are showing the love of a mother. And if a determined mother can climb down, then a determined enemy can also climb up. So you have made us aware that we have overlooked this danger." And actually, they set up watchtowers and named it after her, and they raised the wall and things like that. So very briefly, I'm telling her story. But remember, the power of love made her do this. Next one, this one. The dedication of I forgot to clip this. Naam aa hi gaya hai. But can someone tell me the story of Dashrath Manji, who it is?
His wife actually died in the mountains, and then he started to break the mountains, and he died in that apparently.
Right. So he didn't die actually. He did. So basically, his wife died because there was no path through the mountain. So when his wife got into an accident, to take her, they had to go all around the mountain to go to the hospital, and it was too late. So instead of just saying "Arey" and blaming the government, he said he took it upon himself to break a path through the mountain. For 22 years, he worked and worked on that mountain, kept hammering at it, and he broke through finally. And then, of course, the others also joined in much later, and the path actually was made. That is, he was called as Mountain Man of India, Dashrath Manji. Remember, for the sake of his love for his wife, he broke a mountain. Who is this lady?
She didn't eat for some, I don't know, 30 years.
Not eat for 30 years.
She didn't talk for 30 years, yeah. She didn't talk for 30
Her
years.
name is Saraswati Devi. In 1992, she made a vow. Till Ram Lalla ka mandir is not established, Ram Lalla doesn't get his mandir, I will not talk. For 32 years, she has not spoken. Today, she would have spoken. The first word she would have said, she said, will be Jai Shri Ram. 32 years without speaking. Imagine. Can you even imagine? Like some of you are now what, 16 years, 17 years. Imagine from your birth, you have not spoken up till now. And twice of this, you are not going to speak. Think. What strength through the power of faith and power of love. She remained silent for 32 years, Saraswati Devi. And so many such examples are there. And that's why Ram Lalla is there today. That we are having a session. So how do you strengthen your devotion and how do you develop this faith and love? Okay. So how do you do that? So first, be emotionally secure. Because for us to love and give love to others, we have to feel secure first. We are constantly seeking love from everybody, and we will never be in a position to love others. So we have to have faith. If no, even if you think nobody loves me, no, Bhagwan loves you. God loves you because तुम्हारा जो life breath है उसका उसके love का proof है वो. So God loves us irrespective of anybody else loves us or not, and others also love us. It's not like that. They may not show it or they may not show it the way we want it, but we also don't show others love, right? So be emotionally secure and know that you are loved. Then you will be able to love others. And from inner faith comes from inner purity. You need to be absolutely pure from within. Purity means what? You need to start developing good and a tendency to do good to everybody, to be good to everybody. Once that inner purity comes, you will feel that power of faith also coming. And the third most important point is be genuine. Do not put up a mask. Do not say one thing and mean another thing. सामने कुछ और, पीछे कुछ और. Be genuine. Sita Mata, Ram ji ke samne, she never hesitated to say. Ravan ke samne, she never hesitated to say what she felt like, right? So be genuine. Then you will get others' respect and you will get their trust. So be genuine and sincere for others. Don't just like that say things. यहाँ से मत बोलो. यहाँ से बोलो जो भी बोल रहे हो. Then it will have an impact. And sometimes if you don't like something, say that also. But say it in a very, not on a harsh way. But say it openly and so that you can help others also understand and accordingly you can think of a way out of the situation. This is how you can develop faith and love. Okay, and one more quick quiz. I'm going to give you some clues. You need to guess who it is. Okay. First clue was affectionately called as Madiba, meaning father. Second clue was jailed for 27 years. 27 years jail. Now people know. Correct. Not Gandhi. Gandhiji was not in jail for 27 years. Right answer is correct. Nelson Mandela. He became the first president of current South Africa. How much he would have dedicated his life for that ideal? Think about it. 27 years he dedicated. He remained in jail for the sake of his people, for the sake of equality. Okay, next. Fought for the Ram Temple in Supreme Court even at the age of 93. It's because of him that we're having this celebration today. Now most people know him. I'm happy that most people know him. He was served as the Attorney General for the Government of India and he has been reading the Valmiki Ramayana every day since 1959. So nice documentary about him. You should watch that video. Every day he reads Valmiki Ramayana since 1959. 63 years, 64 years. Every day he has been reading the Valmiki Ramayana. That is what has given him that dedication to stand and he refused to wear shoes also in court. He said, I'm arguing for my Ram Lalla. How can I wear shoes? That is K. Parasaran. Who fought for Ram Lalla. Ram Lalla chose him rather to fight. So Arvind, I'll come to that. Who's Valmiki Raman? I'll come to that part in just a bit. Let me finish this discussion. Then I can give you a few suggestions. And that is how K. Parasaran served. So the third, you cannot touch of Ramayana and not talk about him, right? So this is for Hanuman. Resilience comes through dedication. All these people, Nelson Mandela and K. Parasaran, so many more are there. The examples of this dedication. And Hanuman ji के बारे में तो क्या ही बोलना. I can just go on talking about him. एक चैलेंज के बाद एक चैलेंज, एक चैलेंज के बाद एक चैलेंज. Now think about it. Just like Ramchandraji had a choice whether to go with Vali or Sugriv, Hanumanji had even immediate choice, right? Vali had no enmity with Hanumanji. Yet he chose to go with Sugriva and remained, because once he said, I am dedicating, Surya Bhagwan had said, help be with Sugriva and help him. That's it. After that, wherever Sugriva went, Hanumanji went with him. Was always advising him, was always helping Sugriva, continuously helping, dedicating Sugriva, and transformed Sugriva into such a great guy. I'm going a little fast because we are almost out of time, but so much. Then we know the whole journey of Hanumanji to find Sita ji and come back. बाप रे कितने सारे मुश्किल आए उनको, एक के बाद एक के बाद एक के बाद एक के बाद एक. तो ओशन क्रॉस करने में इतने सारे मुश्किल आए. उसके बाद wherever he went in Lanka, so many challenges, one after the other he faced. And we had done a whole workshop only on that one, Hanuman's journey to find Sita. A whole workshop we had done only on that. So much, but how? Dedication to that Ram. Ram काज किए बिनु मोहे कहाँ विश्राम, he says to Mainak Parvat. I have to do Ram's work. No, I cannot rest without doing that. That kind of dedication he had. And in the war also so, and how many times, I know, we all know Hanumanji went and brought the Sanjeevani Parvat, right? He did it 2 times in the war. You know that? Not once. Do bar. Hanumanji did it. Ek bar nahi. And he didn't keep it there only. Ab leke aaye to rakh dete yahan tak. He took it back every time. Ramji said ki, oh, it should not be displaced from its original place. To wapas rakh do. So he came 2 times. He went and he came back. 2 bar. Hanumanji went all the way from Lanka to Himalaya and back. 2 trip kiye during the war. उसके अलावा तो बहुत सारे contributions he did. And nothing was too much for Hanumanji. कुछ भी काम, he would always be thinking ahead. When the Ram and Lakshman got hit with those snake arrows, before anybody could think, Hanumanji went and met Garud also. Garud ji, please, आओ थोड़ा help करो. Always thinking of what is needed to be done. क्या करना है, क्या करना है, क्या करना है, क्या करना है. And ready to do that, always. That dedication, and any challenge he faced, that dedication helped him face those challenges. That is our great Hanumanji. So, I know we are almost out of time, but just give me 5 more minutes. So, to develop dedication, first and foremost, we must choose an inspiring goal. Just like Hanumanji said, Ramji service is the goal. All of us need to find that inspiring goal and be in constant touch with that goal. Often we also get inspiring goals. I feel, when I see something inspiring, I want to also do that. And then we forget it. Guruji said, somebody wants to climb Everest, but he's ever at rest. कुछ नहीं होगा. You have to be in touch with that ideal constantly. That's how you'll get charged continuously by that. And then, and of course, finally, learn, serve, and grow. It's the motto for the Youth Empowerment Program that Chinmaya Mission does. Because when you grow, when you serve, you actually grow. We think हम service में दूसरों का फायदा हो रहा है, हमारा क्या हो रहा है? But in service, you grow tremendously. All your hidden potential comes out. Just like Hanumanji ka hidden potential came out when he was started serving Ramchandraji. So all our hidden potential manifest when we find an ideal and we dedicatedly serve that ideal. That is the secret of growth. Okay. So that is another beautiful point about how to emotional resilience through Hanumanji. Now for 5 minutes, okay, we will do this. Now we have Chat GPT, right? So we're going to have a Chat GPV. Chat GPV, GPV is great poet Valmiki. So I am going to invoke Valmiki ji, and any of you have any questions about Ramayana, about Ram, about even emotional resilience, anything, you are free to ask Valmiki Rishi. So I'm going to ask Valmiki Rishi to kindly invoke him, and please ask him anything that you want to ask. So I'll start by answering Arvind's question. Whose Valmiki Ramayana is good to read? If you want to read a good authentic one, first I would suggest Gita Press. Gita Press has got a nice English translation of the Valmiki Ramayana, but that's actually like, verse and the meaning type of it. So that way it is. So that is one. But if you want to read more like a, continuous flow, then Vivek Debroy's 3 volumes are there on Ramayana. Yeah, Vivek Debroy, correct. You can read his book also. These are 2 books which I have read and I found them to be online. There might be others, but these 2 are good places to look at. Rajaji's book is good if you want an overview, but Rajaji doesn't go into too many details because he wants to kind of cover the entire story in brief. So if you yes, Rajagopalachari's book is also good. Bhavan's Trust, it's a good book, but to begin with, but it doesn't have all the details. He has skipped over some of the details because he's more like, he wants to convey it. He used to write it as a series of actually articles in a magazine. So he can't go to that much depth. But that's also, yes, Rajagopalachari's book is also good to start. Correct. Yes, Dharani.
Bhaiya, I wanted to ask, you mentioned about universal values for developing faith and love, but I kind of disagree with that because yes, universal values are important, but these universal values can't be applied anywhere. I feel like sometimes so for example, saying lies is wrong. Yes, that is a universal value, but like we see instances in like Mahabharat, where this has been done because that is like for the base, like for the higher good. So I feel that universal values can't be applied everywhere, but they are a good base to start off with. But mostly you should be listening to the God within you, that is the consciousness.
So let me put it this way. Universal values can be applied everywhere in every situation. But sometimes certain values can be in conflict. Okay. At that time, you should know which value is more applicable. Like if you go first you start in lie first of all, but that's a different story. But anyway, point being that even suppose if I have to lie to save somebody's life, suppose example, there saving somebody's life is also a universal value. Saying the truth is also a universal value. So when 2 universal values are in conflict, one must have the discrimination to know which value to apply. So it's not that you have to sacrifice universal value for the other. It's just that there are multiple universal values and all of them may be applicable in some situations and they may be in conflict in some situations. That's where your discrimination power comes. Of course, one should follow one's conscience, but one's conscience needs to be made strong through learning and reading and reflection. Otherwise, sometimes in the name of conscience, we will do what we want to do. Therefore, we should be careful to know that it is not that.
Yes, but I agree because what has been portrayed as universal values is in certain situation only this has to be followed. But it isn't like that, and that's what I was thinking about recently. So yeah.
Right. Okay, Vagishan.
My doubt is that you said you need to have some ideal and then be in touch with it and then serve it. So, like, what is a good ideal or a good goal?
See, there is nothing like a good goal because there is no universal good goal. What I mean is, there are good goals, there are good ideals, but they have to be. So there are 2 characteristics. First, it has to appeal to your head and heart. Meaning what? You should feel a connection with it and you should really respect it. Yeah, this is something worth pursuing. So it should appeal to your head and heart. Second, it should involve something bigger than you. It should not be only restricted to you. It should be an ideal wherein by achieving that ideal, you will be benefited, no doubt, but that benefit will be much bigger than only with you. So
Ah,
anything that appeals to your head and heart and has a benefit more than just you, that would be a good ideal to start.
okay, thank you. Thank you, bye.
So one question has come in the chat. When we are utter confusion and distress, what should one do? If you're utter confusion and distress, first thing one should pause. One should accept that one is in such a state, that the mind is in such a condition. And therefore, one must then look at different, again, it's a very generic question, so I can't give you a very specific answer to it. It depends on the source of confusion, the source of distress. But to get out of something, if you have faith in the power of Ram Nam or any Nam, Ishta Nam, or any faith and any prayer that you do, that will really help you to calm yourself down and gain some inner strength. That is the first thing that one can do. Nam Japa, any kind of that will give you enough strength. And then try to learn and try to open your thinking. Many times we become restricted because there is some disturbance in us and some attachment which is preventing us from thinking more than what we are. So once get some strength first, for calm yourself with the help of japa, with the help of some prayers. And having done that, open your mind up to more possibilities. And there is always possibility. We saw those starting, right? Those examples of people. उनसे बुरा तो हमारा लाइफ नहीं है, बट वो भी निकल आए तो हम भी निकल ही सकते हैं. Yes, Dharani or Shashwati, who wants to ask?
Bhaiya, I had read the story about the Agni Pariksha, where it's actually the Maya Sita which is captured by Ravan, and during the Agni Pariksha, there's some exchange and the real Sita comes back or something. Is it true?
That is not mentioned in the Valmiki Ramayana, but there are some folk stories which mention that. Yes, there are many such local legends which talk about that. And in some ways, it is just also true, because if you see what Ravan wanted to possess, okay, that is only Maya. He never actually wanted the Sita. So Sita is Shakti, right? Shakti and purity. And that Sita Ravan never wanted also, because Ravan couldn't understand that Sita. What he was after, her appearance and all that, was only a Maya anyway. So in that sense, yes, he was only after a Maya Sita. And the real Sita was not even, he never even knew that real Sita. So she was Devi Shakti incarnate. So in that sense, one can say that he was only after Maya Sita, and what was in Lanka was only that Maya Sita. But Valmiki Ramayana makes no such distinctions, and it is actual Sita who goes through the whole thing. But it's a good metaphor to also look at the situation.
Okay, thank you.
One last question I can take before we conclude, or for the last few discussions that I want to do. Yes, Dharani.
So this might seem very controversial, what I'm going to ask, Bhaiya.
Please
You
do.
talk, yeah, so I did a lot of thinking about this. So you talked about, like in the start, you were just telling how, crackers are bahar aise, they're doing celebration. Yes, I agree, Bhaiya, but like, yes, it is an undeniable fact that crackers do cause pollution. And that, but this, this activism comes very selectively only during Hindu festivals. No doubt we have to highlight that, but bursting crackers, like the ones which emit pollution, it is in a way against the essence or core of Sanatana Dharma, because Sanatana Dharma has survived so long because of its dynamic nature, and that is adapting to the current times. And Sanatana Dharma also says that we must preserve Prakriti. Like, aren't we like going opposite, even though we want to prove a point that, hey, don't do the selective activism, we will burst crackers and we'll show you, but that is just like a kind of revenge attitude more than the whole celebration. Like, yes, celebration is involved, but I don't think Ram himself, whom we are doing this for, would like to be celebrated in a way which is harming Prakriti.
Okay, good. I'm happy you asked this question, and I'm sure many others also had this question in mind. So okay, I'll try to give this answer as briefly as I can. When we do this firecrackers in Diwali, it is not done just like that. There's a specific reason for it, because it is part of Ulka Dan. Ulka Dan has been done by us since ancient times. Ulka Dan is when we actually used to take fire and show the ancestors. It actually follows Pitru, Paksha and all of that. So it's a way to show Pitrus the path back to their Pitru Loka, and therefore it is done by lighting up with fire the entire pathways and things like that. And not just diyas, with actual Ulka. Ulka is actually, where fire is given out. Of course, आज का crackers may not have been at that point of time, कुछ अलग रहा होगा. But the fire ritual जो है, that is very much, or you bring out fire is very much there in our scriptures. So Ulka Danam is there. Therefore, in Diwali, it is something which is part of our tradition. It's not that we are just like that doing it now. Having said that, now let's address the pollution aspect. Everything that we do has a price. This session that is happening is also causing pollution, right? Because for this session to happen, so many people's computers are on or mobiles are on, which means you're consuming internet, you're consuming electricity, you're consuming energy, and that energy is coming. Most of the energy today still comes from conventional energy sources like burning coal and whatever oil or whatever gas, and all of which is adding pollution to it. Watching 1 hour of Netflix is equal, in HD version is equivalent to driving a few kilometers in car. That's the same amount of energy consumption that happens there. So everything that we do comes with a price, and that comes with the cost of pollution. So does that mean we can just pollute anyway since everything is polluting? No. Of course, we have to have limiters, which we already do. We already do have so many limiters. We have limited the noise in the crackers that come these days. We have green crackers now, which are less polluting as compared to the others. And the scale of pollution that happens because of cracker burning is nowhere in the top 10 reasons of pollution. If one goes and looks at the actual survey done by the IIT, I'm forgetting which IIT, IIT Kanpur, IIT Kharagpur, they did a survey. This was in context of Delhi. And firecrackers not even in top 10 reasons. So there are many, many ways in which we are already creating pollution, much more than what the firecrackers are doing. So therefore, if we are preserving a tradition by bursting firecrackers with limiters, and we are doing it on our own, nobody asked us to do it. We are doing it still. Because we ourselves do, and so many such things have changed, right? We know that Ganesh Visarjan mein earlier POP करते थे problem होता था. So nowadays everybody has gone back to doing clay. And hardly you find any POP statues coming. हम self regulating हैं. You're right. We are not against Prakriti. We cannot go. हमारी Prakriti is Ishwar. Therefore, we cannot go against Prakriti. But it is not that by bursting crackers on just 1 or 2 days, we are causing extremely high, intolerable levels of pollution, which doesn't caused by other things. That's also not true. So therefore, one can definitely do it, and yes, and everything must be done within limits. Burst crackers within limits, and that cracker bursting has a significance in our tradition for Diwali. And of course, today was just a one-off occasion, therefore we are doing it, but it's not that we do it for every occasion. So therefore, it's part of the tradition to use firecrackers during Diwali or to use fires basically during Diwali. You can do it, of course, you can do it with limits, and it doesn't cause any long-term effect damage to the environment as well. So, and there are so many other things that we do which is perhaps even more polluting. And as concerned citizens of the environment, we should work on all these things. I have answered all this without even talking about selective activism, which you yourself have already answered.
Can I have a follow-up, Bhaiya?
Maybe we can take this up offline because everybody is kind of
Yes, yes.
on off schedule, but that's the only reason. It's not that I definitely encourage you. Please do reach out and we can have follow-up. I'm limiting
Yes, yes.
questions right now simply because we are running out of time. But we will take up questions on other occasion, but I'm happy that you are all coming up with it. So I will
Understood.
right. And I will just conclude with this because when we talk about resilience, what we see in front of us, this picture is a monumental example of resilience. Is the resilience of 500 years of Hindus that we are seeing this and that we are here today. We are doing this celebration today. And that is so, therefore, it's a monument of resilience. That our culture has survived despite the biggest crisis hitting it one after the other because we have all been connected. And one thread which has connected all of us is Ram, the thread of Ram. The fabric of Ram is it's like the thread of Ram with which our cultural fabric has been woven, the thread of Ramayana and Mahabharata, which has made this whole culture what it is. So let us remember always to dedicate ourselves 100% and celebrate this moment of resilience and learn. I just mentioned, in fact, I've not even done justice to any of the characters I've talked about today. And there are only 3 characters I've talked about. So Ramayana is filled with so many more epic characters. Mahabharata के बारे में तो हम बोल ही नहीं रहे अभी. So therefore, let's be more resilient. Let's be stronger as a culture, as individuals, as a country, and let us overcome all challenges and emerge on top with a victory, as we always say, Jai Shri Ram. That victory. So before we conclude, I would of course Dharini will take you to the finals conclusion. But before that, I would also request if everybody can turn on your cameras for a moment. We could have a nice Zoom fee. Okay, and then I will hand it over for Dharini for concluding today's session. Come on, everybody. I'm going to count up to 10 and then you will have to take the Zoom fee. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. और बोलो सियावर रामचंद्र की भगवान की जय. बोलो सियावर रामचंद्र भगवान की जय. Great. Thank you so much, Dharini.
Emotions are indeed an inseparable part of each one of us. Learning to handle these emotions is much needed. As mentioned in the session, being Bharatiyas, we don't have to look outside for inspirations and ideals. We have them in our epic Ramayana itself. Grateful to Arvind Bhaiya for being a medium of Bhagwan Ram himself to expound wisdom from the Lord's great Katha. As mentioned in the introduction of our speaker, every week we have Arvind Bhaiya and several other sevaks taking online and offline Chik classes, teaching us to apply the learnings included in our ancient scriptures, still relevant today. Speaking of my personal experience, these classes are more of discussions and have helped me open up, become more confident, and shape pretty much of who I am today. If you're interested in joining these classes, please contact the numbers that I will be posting in the chat box. Now, I request Dharini Vishwanathan to chant the ending prayers.